Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where we will go beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Be part of down-to-earth, no BS conversations where we will explore hot topics on love and money, relationships and business, beauty, and who we get to be with all that shit in between. With our insights and your actions, let's be unstoppable together. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And we're just laughing a little bit because right before we recorded, our computer froze and I got the best image of Vicky in her confused face. So we're going to share that with this, I think, with these show notes.
Yeah, it was funny.
Episode.
Yeah, we need one. We definitely, because there is tons of bloopers.
Oh yeah, for sure. So last episode, we talked about, tapping into the source of the creator and, making sure that we see that like we give our power away. People can't take our power away. And it got us thinking about this other concept, ask and it is given. And I wanted to start off by sharing a funny story. Vicky, I think I shared this with you, but last week, when I had my really crappy moment that turned into a crap day because it was a series of crap moments, what happened was I was feeling disempowered. I was feeling a loss of power. And I said, okay, what do I need to do to shift my state? This is my state. I'm feeling a loss of power. Nobody can take my power away. I got to take control of my state right now. So I said, okay, I can go for a walk. I can go to the gym. I can go for a swim. Like, what am I going to do to shift my state, right? I'm not going to swim in it, sit in my shit. I'm going to figure it out. So I'm like, okay, I should probably go to the gym. But everything in my body was like, you don't want to go to the gym. No, then you're going to have to people. And you can't people right now. So I'm like, okay, I hear you thoughts. I'm not listening to you. And I said, okay, let's see what classes there are, And there was a bungee class. And I thought, okay, that can't be a lot of people. It's 8 to 11. I said, I don't have to people a lot. And it might be fun. And I can jump around and try something new. And maybe I need some fun in my life right now. So I sign up for this bungee class. I go in. I don't see anybody walking in. Like it's a ghost town. I'm like, okay, this is pretty interesting. Yes, I don't have to people. Then I go into this bungee room and the instructor's there. And then there's 2 minutes before the class starts. Nobody else is in the class. Then it's the time that the class starts. And I see the manager talking to her. They're having this dialogue outside the room. She comes in, she shuts the door. She's like, I've never seen this happen before. She said, we always have 6 to 11 people in this room. There's usually a wait list for this class. She said, in the last couple hours, everyone canceled or just didn't show up. She said, so you get a private session today.
Oh my.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but this is what I've learned. But I learned it, I heard it, but I didn't embody it. And the lesson that I learned is that if you give 100%, whatever 100% is for you, even if it's just getting your ass in the car to say, I'm going to make this attempt, even if you come back in the house, like whatever your 100% is, when you give 100%, the thing that you actually want, you get. But be careful what you really want. Ask and it is given. I really did not want to people. I wanted to be in my own little bubble, my own little shell. Yeah. Usually the way that it works, if you ask for something, you get the opposite so you can practice getting out of your shell. But I literally asked. So then I got thinking, is that what I really wanted? Did I really not want to people? Or did I really want to be with the right people? Did I really want to be in the right environment? Because I love people. So me saying I don't want to people, I want to be around people that uplift me. I want to be, so unconsciously, my words were I don't want to people, but I do believe that unconsciously, I was like, I want to be empowered by people. I want to be lifted by people. Although I wasn't saying that out loud, I think at an unconscious level, because whenever, ask and it is given, truly, what we want, we get. And sometimes it's not in the way that we think it's going to be. But I can't think that that's a coincidence.
Well, I don't believe in coincidences, and be careful when you ask for what you want, because sometimes your wants and needs change. We can be working for something, right? Like, we're both building businesses. We do this podcast. We want things that we like, our goals are here. What happens when we get here? Is that what we really wanted? Or do we really want to be that busy in this and that? Do we really want that? And that's what, listen to yourself. Allow yourself to hear what you're asking for and really sit with it. Know it. Continue to do what you're doing, but you can't keep pushing and pushing and pushing and grinding and grinding and grinding. Sometimes you have to allow things to come to you. You have to have the patience to really see what is being offered to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get stuck in this place of, I got to do. Then you lose the being present and the being enjoying the journey, because that destination isn't always what we're looking for. It is enjoying the journey along the way.
Mm.
I listened to Rob Dial a lot, and he had put out a podcast that was talking about dopamine and how we are in a society where everything, you're always stimulated. It's always like everything. We can pick up our phone, we're stimulated, turn on the TV, do anything. It's always stimulation. That's not healthy. We need to be able to be bored. We need to be able to, because what is boredom? Like, I remember as a child, right? I was an only child. So if there was no one to play with, or, right, nothing to do, I could be bored because it was raining or whatever, right? There was nothing to do. Well, now there's always something to do,
Yeah.
right? So when we ask for things, we're asking, but we're not enjoying what we're given, because we're not even seeing it, because it's not what you know what I'm saying? So we're wanting this. I want $1 million, but get that $1 million, at what cost? At what cost is it going to cost me to get there if I'm not enjoying the whole process of it all?
Yeah, and I think intellectually we hear this a lot, right? We hear these things like enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, and ask and it is given, and be careful what you wish for. And it's all intellectual until you really embody it and really think about like what is it that I want and what is it that I need and why? Why is that important? And I had a call with somebody yesterday actually. And I asked her what she wanted, and she said, I want this. And I said, but why is that important to you? And then she said, oh, because of this. I said, but why is that important to you? And I just kept asking her, like 7
Yeah.
years deep. And she's like, because I know what it's like to suffer, and I just don't want people to suffer. And if I've gotten through something, I want to make sure that they don't have to do it alone because I did everything on my own. I was like, oh, okay, great. So did you notice how what you said you wanted and why? That was superficial. That's what your brain
Yeah.
wants you. But at an unconscious level, why do you really want that? Is
Hmm.
because there's something deeper that you're trying to, like this
Hmm.
void that you're trying to fill. And we don't actually go that deep with ourselves sometimes.
No.
Why
Oh,
do we
God,
want
no.
the fancy house? And why do we want the $1 million business? And why? When you get that thing, what will that give you? Well, okay, but why is that important to you? Why is freedom important to you? And we don't have these conversations enough to really get to the source of, well, what is actually running our show? I know for me, my whole life, I was driven by results. If I was
Yeah.
producing results, I was worthy, I was deserving. When I had a lull year where I wasn't producing results that I expected, I thought, like, this isn't what I want. This is, but at a soul level, it's what I actually wanted. I
Hmm.
wanted to let go of the facade, the mask, the results, the running, the driving. I wasn't conscious of it, but really asking it is given. I wanted to slow down. I wanted to be able to own my worth without it being attached to my results. I wanted to be
Absolutely.
calm in the storm. This is what I really wanted, but I didn't know that that's what I wanted until I got the opposite of what I thought I wanted, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
Like,
But
okay,
when our interests change, Tina, like, we change. And if we're not changing and growing, yeah, okay, so what do you want in high school? Right? Oh, I want to be married and have kids, and I want to have this perfect white picket fence and this family. Really? Did you? right? And then you get it and you're not happy. And then you wanted this and then you get it and you're not happy, right? It's all about what people think, and that's what drives me the most crazy. It doesn't matter. Who cares what anybody else thinks or says? It's about how it makes you feel and what you want, and I know when we became friends, we were brought up very differently. We had different lives. I'm older than you. My kids are grown. Your kids are still teenagers. We're in totally different places, but we bonded in a different way because we wanted similar things for different reasons,
Hmm.
but we could see and appreciate each other's ways of being and doing things. And that's what it's about for me, is to really know and to sit with it and discover my changes in my life as my life is changing, because we all have them. Every part of our lives every year is a different, we're going through a different cycle, a different change. Listen to what you are wanting today. It might be completely different than it was a month ago, 6 years ago,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, and that's okay, right? You were striving for that seven figures, seven figures, seven figures. And then you realize, like, what happens when you get it? Are you happier?
It's almost like the negative bias that we're programmed to have,
Hmm.
where nothing is enough and everything's wrong and everything's bad. And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, I remember sitting in my office, very successful business. I had a house manager who cooked, cleaned for me, who did my grocery shopping, beautiful kids, husband. And here I am sitting there with all of these blessings. And I couldn't see the blessings, not once. It was
No.
like, oh my God, got to do this for business and it's so stressed and I got to do this and oh, if I don't do this and I was constantly in my head and I'm like, if this, if I, like, how do I say this? If this is the cost to get this, forget it. I'd rather be
Yeah.
broke ass poor, living in a shack with my kids, going outside, going to the beach, I'd rather have nothing and live a
Yeah.
simple life than give my soul for the dollar. And then
Yeah.
you start seeing none of that and it's all made up.
Yeah.
Like really, it's so
You
crazy.
know,
Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I never wanted for anything as a child. My dad worked two jobs. He worked at a factory and then he bought a business and he bought a little bit more and a little bit more until he owned it 100%. And then, so he worked. He worked all the time. So I never really saw my dad when I was younger, but I have his business sense. I love an entrepreneurship. I love that. But I learned so much from my mom who was home with me,
mm,
right? I never wanted for anything. My husband never had anything and wanted for everything. So
yeah.
I can see it from both sides, right? I see what that does. And to never want for anything. And I never was that kid that I didn't care if we shopped at, it was Byway at the time, or at, like, it didn't matter if it was a brand name. And I found that when I met my husband, everything he owned was brand name. He may have only had ten pairs of, like, outfits or whatever, but they were all brand name because that's what meant something to him, because that was the thing that he wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? It didn't matter to me. I'd rather say, oh, look, I got this for $5. It
Mhm.
was on sale. I can have 10 of them for that one thing that you just bought for 100. You know what I mean? Like, so I just, it's be careful what you ask for, is, because you do get it.
As you're sharing that story, I just had this thought come up, and maybe we've talked about this in another podcast episode. But I remember when I was maybe 7 years old, I had a friend, and her mom walked over to our house to pick her up. She was visiting, we were playing or whatever. And I remember we had this old garage. It was kind of like crooked, but up against the
Yeah.
house. Like I remember, I'll never forget. I'm standing on my porch and she's looking at the porch and she said, your parents really need to replace your porch. She's like, is your house crooked or is your garage crooked? And she was just like, I could feel the judgment. And I remember when I built my house with my husband, custom built, beautiful home. I never felt good enough to live in that house. People would come in and they'd be like, oh my gosh, your house is so amazing. I'm like, it's just a house. Like, I felt so weird about it. And I could
Hmm.
never make that home feel like home. Something brand new, custom. We created it, But I was always that, like, I always identified as that kid with a cricket house. Like that's,
Yeah.
and it's so weird.
Hmm.
And I'm getting a little bit emotional sharing this right now because I was probably much like Chuck, like we didn't have a lot and I didn't need a lot. And I actually, those people that did, I had some beliefs about them that they were snotty, they were
Hmm.
self-centered. So when I started building a business and I started having these blessings and we had this beautiful custom built home, there was always this feeling inside of me that I didn't belong there. And I could never shake that feeling. And even when I left my husband for the first time, I was like, oh, thank God I'm out of this house. So weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely, but there was probably a decision that I made in that
Yeah.
moment about her, about people that, because they compared to me, like they were rich. In my eyes, they
Yeah.
were rich. Like
Yeah.
they had the fancy pop, the pop shop pop, and they
Hmm.
had all
Hmm.
this junk food, and they had,
Yeah.
central air, which we had a fan and we had a
Yeah.
conditioner in the door, not even in the window. Like we were kind of like a little broke ass poor, you guys. But like that to me was just like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
want to be like her. She has money and she's mean. Like, I don't want to be like that. And I think maybe I'm having a breakthrough right now, you guys, because I'm seeing,
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, yeah. Because I was always like, oh, I want to be humble and I don't want people to know what I have. And I don't want them to
Hmm.
see me as the mean girl. And maybe from our last episode, why I don't honor my time is because I don't want people to see that I'm snotty or like I want them
Yeah.
that I see the
Yeah.
giving is
Maybe.
sometimes receiving.
That's right.
This is what a
Because
breakthrough
that's
looks like,
funny.
you guys.
Yeah. What's funny when you were talking about that, my dad had a Corvette when I was growing up. Always had a Corvette. He had a silver one and then a yellow one. I don't know. You can ask. I don't know what cars are cars, but he had a Corvette, and I would never let him drive me or pick me up from school in that car
Wow.
because no one else had one, and I didn't want people to see something different.
Wow.
I wanted to be the same as them. I didn't want them to be see me as somebody different.
Oh, yeah.
So, it goes both ways, right?
Tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah, yeah,
No, and it
yeah,
becomes like a love block. We talk about money blocks, money mirror,
yeah,
how money is like mirroring other things in your life, this tall poppy syndrome, the pretender, the underneath that is if I have more, if I'm successful, people won't love me or they won't like me. And so
yeah.
we undermine our success. Like I even have a hard time putting testimonials on
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah. Me too.
website or like
Hmm.
everybody's looking for credibility. I'm like, I don't know. I've coached over 3,000 people. Like
Yeah,
1,500 people have come through my programs. Like, I don't know. We've generated millions and millions and like helping people generate
yeah.
kind of revenue. But they're like, well, where are your testimonials? I'm like, ew, like I don't want to, I don't want to
I
brag.
know. It is. But and that is the humbleness of it though. And I think that there's nothing wrong with being humble. But like we talk about authenticity too. You're an authentic person. You are real. You are not pretend. You are this way when we're together in off the camera as when we are on. And I am the same. I always say my daughter always says to me, okay, mom, when I go to her house with her three kids that I babysit them quite often, she'll say, okay, you're in the city, so you need to use your city voice, not your country voice.
So great. Oh my gosh. Well, really love this conversation because as we were recording it, I didn't feel like we were recording a podcast. I felt like this episode we were actually recording just a conversation and exploring where
Yeah.
it goes. And there was a shift in this conversation I feel today. I don't know if you guys listening felt that shift too, but I think we get to have these open conversations and even when we're talking things through or remembering things, we can have our own personal breakthroughs. And I think I did see where a lot of my, not wanting to be like those people
Yeah.
has like kind of held me back a little bit. And it's not bragging if you share your wins and your successes. And, if you're in business, sometimes people are looking for credibility. They are looking for somebody who's been where they want to be. That
But you also balance that out with the vulnerability and the rawness of the truth and the downs as well as the ups. So that to me, for myself as well, I want people to know that I am a regular person just like you, and we all have shit, right? And we're here to support you through that shit. Because being unstoppable is a group effort. It's an empowering group effort. And that's what both of us want. We want people to be successful and empowered and feel good about themselves.
Yeah,
And
and live
that's what this is
life.
all about.
Yeah, live life
Yes,
on their terms. If
that's
if
right.
if it's all kind of a simulated kind of experience, we're just making it up as we go. I
Yeah.
said to somebody yesterday, I'm like, listen, if you go to a movie and you don't like the movie, you don't like the actors in the movie, you don't like the scene, you don't like the lighting, you can't change the actors, you can't change the scene,
No,
you can't change the lighting. You can just get out of the movie and go watch another movie. Well, this is kind of like our life. If you don't like the movie that you're creating because you're creating it, you gotta go change. You gotta change the movie. You have to. Vicky's not
that's right.
changing. I'm not changing. This podcast isn't changing. If you don't like it, you might have to turn the dial, but I hope you do. But that's our choice. We have to do that. Not have to, but we get to do that. We don't like the
Yeah,
movie, just go into another.
that's right.
You don't like that one? Go into another one. It's
Yeah.
This is what life is all about. And it doesn't take that much to walk out of a movie and
Mm-mm.
go watch another one. Just like in your life, you don't like it, all you need to do is look within, and all the answers that you're seeking are inside of yourself. But
Yes, they are.
you got to have the courage to just look and be okay with asking for what you want, and it is already done. It's already done. Just be careful what you want.
Well, well, on that note, I hope that you got something from this podcast today. And we'll see you again on another episode. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Bye, everyone.
Well, friends, that is the end of our episode today. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And please share us with your friends and tag us on your socials at The Art of Being Unstoppable. So for today, have yourself a beautiful day and let's be unstoppable together. See you next time.